According to the Good Men Project, the three non-life threatening fears that men deal with are the fear of rejection, the fear of irrelevance, and the fear of disappointment. So, why do we as men wrestle with these fears? Well, when it comes to the fear of rejection, we always put our best foot forward. We always pursue stuff, whether it's pursuing a woman, pursuing a career, pursuing an idea, pursuing something. And what happens is when we get rejected, there's only so much we can take as a man, right? And what happens is when we try something new or we have an idea in our head that we would like to try, we have to overcome that rejection, that fear of being rejected again, because that feeling we don't like as men. We hate it. It drives us crazy. Whether you get rejected by a woman, whether you get rejected by a job opportunity, even in sales, I deal with rejection. I have to learn to have a short term memory because when someone doesn't buy what I'm offering, I have to just move on. It's not easy, but I have to keep going. So the reason why we struggle with the fear of rejection is we don't want to just face that feeling again. So we just leave it alone. We hide, we go in our little corners and just stay put because we don't want to deal with that rejection again. The second thing is the fear of irrelevance. Every man in life wants to have a purpose. We all want a purpose. You want a purpose, I want a purpose. But what happens is if we pursue a purpose, and let's just say that purpose doesn't work out the way we expected, well, we're going to feel that irrelevance. We're going to feel like, man, I've put in this work for 3 years. I put in all these hours and nothing's happening. So we're frustrated. We're angry at ourselves. And then regret starts creeping in. Questions start creeping in. We start asking ourselves, was this the right path? Did I make the right choices? And what begins to happen is we feel irrelevant. We feel like, man, I could be somewhere else in life. I could have made this choice 3 years ago, but I didn't. And here I am stuck. And now we are in this situation where we feel irrelevant, right? And what happens is we're scared of just trying anything new. We're scared of just getting back up and starting over because that irrelevant feeling is still there. Or we're pursuing something, we're still scared of feeling irrelevant because, again, we want to succeed. We want to provide for our communities. We want to provide for our families. We want to become something. That's just in our DNA as a man. That's how we function in our world. So that's why we wrestle with the fear of irrelevance because we feel as men that we should be at a level where we are contributing, where we are producing at a higher level in society. And if we're not, we feel like we've let people down. The third thing is the fear of disappointment. We do not like disappointing people. We hate it. We hate letting our spouses down. We hate seeing them, say, hey, we can't go on this vacation because you just weren't doing what you're supposed to do. Or we can't go do this because you're not providing the way you said you would. Or this and the third. And it really bothers us, as men. We don't like to hear someone feeling disappointed by our actions. We're afraid of it because if we let them down, we feel like we let ourselves down. We feel like, man, I could be doing more. I should have been doing more. And what happens is, again, that fear kicks in. And when something comes up, like a new opportunity, something that could actually better us as men, we don't do it because we don't want to let anybody down again. We don't want to go through the same cycle. So with these three things, we have to learn how to overcome these fears. So how do we overcome these three fears? Well, the first thing we got to do is we've got to guard our mind. We have to look at what we're watching, what we're engaging in every day. How can we become the man we're supposed to be when we're constantly watching the news, all the negativity that's on there, all the, craziness, the wars, the economy, all that stuff? How can we really focus in on what we're supposed to become when we're so caught up with the government, when we're so caught up with all the political propaganda out there? We can't because we're feeding our mind to something else. How can we, become that man when we're involved in conversations that aren't uplifting, that are just full of drama, that are full of division, that are full of just things that do not benefit us as men? How can we get better? We can't because our mind is being fed with things that are negative. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of sound mind. The word sound mind means sensible or something that you can rely on and that will probably give good results. So if I am a person who is feeding my mind things that aren't good for me, I'm not going to be able to think clearly. I'm not going to be able to have a clear vision, and I'm just going to be confused, right? So if I want to get over this fear of rejection, of irrelevance, of disappointment, I have to guard my mind. I have to monitor what goes in my head each day. Because if those feelings are in my head, I'm not going to move past these fears. Second thing you want to do is set realistic goals. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Be realistic with your expectations. Trust your process. It's going to take time. But if you can set achievable goals, you're going to gain momentum. You're going to feel good about yourself, and you're going to be able to face your fears a lot more better when you're making progress. Because if you look at your growth, if you look at how you're getting better each day, it's only going to compound into something better every single day. You're gonna look at yourself 7 weeks from now and go, man, I've really grown in that area. Man, I've advanced in my career. I've become a better man, a better husband because I'm writing down realistic goals. And now you're dealing with these fears. You're like, man, rejection, irrelevance, disappointment, it doesn't really hinder you as much because you're setting realistic goals. The third thing you want to do is reassess, improve, and repeat. Focus on your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses. Look at the progress you've made. Track everything. And when we track everything, we're going to see what needs to improve. We're going to see what needs to get better. So if we want to get better as a man, if we want to function as the man we're supposed to become, let's deal with our fears. Let's face them head on. Let's not let them linger in us and it just defeats us and we don't become the man we're supposed to be. That's not our calling. That's not who we're supposed to be anyways. So if you're having some problems, if you're having some struggles, that's okay. Know that you're human and know that it's going to get better. But it's our responsibility to take action, to take control, because we cannot allow these things to get in our way. We're necessary. We're valuable. We have a lot to give. We have a lot to offer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to know how to overcome fear even more, I've got 3 other videos where I talk about overcoming fear, and I'll see you on the next video.